Erratic. It was always a kind of victimology about what had happened to them. But now it goes back to blaming Lenin for the foundation of Kiev, Kiev in the Russian, of Ukraine. So he's descending into something that I personally haven't seen before.
And a lot of reaction to that exclusive interview for Fox News Sunday yesterday with former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. I mean, she had met Putin before he became president, then met him several times while alongside President Bush, and witnessed a change already in him years and years ago. And that was from a guy who'd been with the KGB, a spy, becoming president and scooping up all that power. And she said you could see more of a tough veneer in the bravado. But what we have now, she called him delusional. I mean, there was a lot of texture to how she described where he is now. She said he's in a dark place, and we don't know what that's like. She said his paranoia is being fed by the fact that he can't trust the people around him. He doesn't even have a cell phone, doesn't have all that. That might not be that out of the ordinary for a president not to have those accessible and hackable devices. However, Putin is more and more isolated, and Secretary Rice says that makes him vulnerable emotionally. And she says that's not the same man she met. All critical to know, because that person has nuclear weapons. And how far will their desperation go? Jillian Turner is live for us in Washington, D.C. Jillian.
There's a lot of reaction to that interview indeed. Now a well-placed intelligence source is telling me it's known in some circles that Putin doesn't use a personal cell phone or even the internet. So if true, he really is cut off from the world beyond the walls of his compound and his inner circle of cronies. It's also, by the way, not just Bush administration officials who are worried. President Obama's intelligence chief says he hopes cabinet secretaries are trying to get answers about Putin's mental state. Take a listen.
I think he's a little unhinged. I really do. And that's why these statements bear watching.
Trump administration officials say Putin's decision-making is no longer rational, meaning they're not even in his own best interests.
I don't think he's a rational actor because he's fearful, right? What he wants to do more than anything is restore Russia.
Over on Capitol Hill, lawmakers are calling him delusional.
And now to hear him put the nuclear forces on high alert, I'm really starting to question the competency, mental fitness. He seems to be delusional, very isolated, and this is really terrifying. Not just for Ukraine, but the entire world.
The perception among some foreign leaders is that Putin's mental health has deteriorated very rapidly, very recently. The president of Finland, who's kept up a regular dialogue with Putin for years, said after a recent phone call he had a marked change in behavior. Likewise, President Emmanuel Macron of France said after meeting face-to-face with Putin last week, he seemed, quote, more rigid and more isolated. Backing this up, a senior national security official who accompanied President Trump to his infamous meeting with Putin tells me Putin seemed paranoid and unwilling to listen to reason. That is a direct quote last week coming out on the heels of that Macron meeting. Harris?
Yeah, it was interesting to hear Secretary Rice talk about feeding that paranoia. Because if it's already existing and it's getting worse, who also is the good intelligence on this to tell the rest of the world? Tell us what that's like for him before he does the next thing. Jillian, thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So
Fox News Sunday yesterday with former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. I mean, she had met Putin before he became president, then met him several times while alongside President Bush, and witnessed a change already in him years and years ago. And that was from a guy who'd been with the KGB, a spy, becoming president and scooping up all that power. And she said you could see more of a tough veneer in the bravado. But what we have now, she called him delusional. I mean, there was a lot of